UW360 is proudly supported by BECU, a not-for-profit member-owned credit union. Pacific Office Automation, copy, print, workflow, and IT. Problem solved.
Hi everyone, I'm Carolyn Douglas. Welcome to UW360, coming to you from the Club Husky level in newly renovated Husky Stadium. These are considered the best seats in the house, and you can see why. The stadium's long been known as one of the finest college sports venues in the country, and now it's also known as one of the greenest. We'll tell you more about that a little later in the show. We'll also meet a standout player from the Husky women's basketball team, whose talents extend far beyond the hardwoods. We'll learn about a UW professor's exciting DNA research that could one day transform and save lives. We'll talk to one of the world's leading experts on climate change here at the UW to learn what a warming planet really means to us here in the Northwest and what we can still do about it. First, though, it is the fastest growing public university in the state. And now there's an exciting new leader at the helm of UW Bothell. Mimi Gann shows us why he's the talk of the town and why he already feels right at home here in the Northwest.
There's a new chancellor here at the University of Washington, Bothell. And he not only has an impressive background, but he has special ties to the Pacific Northwest. And that makes him the perfect choice to lead this growing campus. He's affable.
I laugh a lot. It's healthy.
Hey guys.
Accessible.
Hi, Yeigh. Nice to meet you too.
And appreciative.
This is a memorial to signify our students' appreciation for the service of the veterans and their drive to commemorate this.
I'm very happy to introduce U.S. Navy veteran and Chancellor of UW Bothell, Yeigh.
With his easy smile and signature bow tie, Bjong Yeigh is proudly taking the helm as University of Washington Bothell's new chancellor.
It is an institution that is in the making of something great.
So we're all Huskies.
His journey here has come full circle and reflects his perseverance, character, and vision.
I've been trying to get the Pacific Northwest all my life for the last 30 years. And because this is the city in which my mother immigrated through. So in a way, this is like my Ellis Island. My given name is Bjong.
He was a young boy in Korea when his father passed away. So Bjong and his mother immigrated to the U.S. in search of opportunity, a good education, the American dream.
I think that was really the motivating factor for her moving to the United States. I give her a lot of credit for what she's been able to do. She's been a wonderful supporter, continued to support me in many ways.
Always curious, Yeigh first learned English by watching cartoons. And when he wasn't playing tennis or baseball, he was entering science fairs.
I think I was always interested in research, always interested in just learning. I really had great mentors throughout, ever since I was a little kid and even till this day.
After earning engineering degrees at Dartmouth and Stanford, Yeigh changed course and joined the Navy, where he got the nickname Wolf, and it stuck.
I'm glad that name stuck and not something else. You know, for me, the time in the Navy was really to give back and to serve, but always intended to come back to further studies.
After the Navy, including a stint in the Gulf War, Yeigh earned a PhD from Princeton. At various posts along his career, he discovered his passion for teaching and building community. UW Bothell couldn't be a better fit.
We have grown over 11% in the last year. You know, we recruited 29 new faculty this year. UW 3, which is a STEM building, which will be opening a year from now.
I can identify with this institution and what this institution is about. STEM certainly, but you know, we have wonderful interdisciplinary arts and sciences school, nursing and health studies, they're also wonderful. Education, you know, we have more than half of our student body that are first-generation college goers. the diversity factor here on this campus alone is, I would say, the very best. In all measures, this is the type of institution that looks like me, that I feel very passionate about.
Yeigh takes his new role as chancellor very seriously, but not himself.
Tell me, what would people find surprising to learn about you?
But I think people might say the new guy is pretty goofy. And I am.
He may be goofy, but he's hardly a goof off. The affable, accessible, and appreciative new chancellor is enjoying the journey of giving back to a country and now a community that feels like home.
And very privileged that I get to do what I always envisioned or wanting to do, giving back in a setting, in a place where I've been trying to get for the past 30 years.
Chancellor Yeigh says that his wife is probably the bigger sports fanatic, but now they're both die-hard Husky fans. We wish Chancellor Yeigh all the best as he starts his tenure here at UW-Bothell. I'm Mimi Gann.
Still to come, what does climate change really mean to all of us here in the Northwest? And what, if anything, can we do about it? We take our questions to a global authority on climate change here at the University of Washington as UW360 continues. Welcome back to UW360. Within the scientific community, there seems to be no doubt the surface of the Earth is warming by the minute. But what does that really mean? And what can we do about it? To get some answers, we went to a world-renowned UW scientist who was part of an international panel on global climate change. He tells us what climate change really means for the Pacific Northwest and why he believes there's hope on the horizon.
The climate is changing, so we need to change as well.
Climate change. It's in the land and sea and the very air we breathe. And as the temperature of the Earth rises, so do our fears.
It's terrifying. I know, the repercussions are huge, and I know that.
It doesn't seem like something a lot of people have a strong idea about or even have a good grasp about the actual facts.
Global warming is clearly a hot topic, fraught with more questions than answers.
How we're going to prepare for or cope with the inevitable changes, because we can't prevent all the changes no matter what we do.
One of the things we're interested in, though, is the impact of pollution from Chile.
Chris Bretherton, UW Professor of Atmospheric Sciences, is part of an international group of researchers who study climate change. His work is so highly regarded, he was chosen as a lead author for a report put out by the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change.
Climate change is with us right now. We're making it worse. We need to move as fast as we can away from fossil fuel energy to keep climate change from becoming quite substantial.
Bretherton spends a lot of time with his head in the clouds.
We think we're heading toward a world with somewhat less clouds.
Bretherton's expertise in climate research is on the role of clouds and aerosols in the atmosphere.
If the clouds melt back, which is what we think is going to happen in a warmer climate, then that means more sunlight can get to the surface, and that warms the planet even more.
If global warming continues, some hard, cold facts start to crystallize.
For instance, the West Antarctic ice sheet were to melt, it could raise sea level something like 12 to 15 feet. And a 12 to 15 foot sea level rise in a few decades would drown about half of Florida, would drown a lot of Bangladesh, would drown a lot of low-lying parts of Texas. Basically places all over the world.
But what about our corner of the world, here in the Northwest?
For our region, we expect to see a range of sea level rise from 4 to 56 inches increase over the course of this century.
Amy Snover is the director of UW's Climate Impacts Group. According to Snover, climate change affects everything here, from floods to fires to food.
One of the things that's of biggest concern to people thinking about climate impacts on agriculture is irrigation water availability.
There seems to be little doubt the climate is changing, but no doubt about who is responsible.
We're all implicated in this. This is all because of greenhouse gases emitted to the atmosphere as a result of human activities. So it comes from burning fossil fuels, which means energy use, which means driving cars and burning coal and power plants.
With more awareness and a sense of urgency, experts agree we need to figure out a way to weather the inevitable.
The consensus of science has been that this is a problem that's going to get a lot worse before it gets better, and so, you know, it's something that we should be worried about.
But what we really focus on here is that all of those scenarios are for change. There's no scenario that says things are going to stay the way they are. And so the other question to ask is, what are we doing to get ready for that?
According to climate change experts, if there's any hope on the horizon, it will rest on our shoulders, shoulders that future generations will stand on.
How we as a society are really going to tackle this problem. I mean, this is a serious issue that will affect our kids. How much it changes, we have influence over. That's about how much greenhouse gases we emit. And whether we prepare for the changes that are inevitable, we have a choice about as well.
Our next story comes to us from right across the way at Heck Ed Pavilion, home to the Husky women's basketball team. They're young, ambitious, and loaded with talent. And one player in particular has an especially interesting story to tell. Aaron Majowski shows us how Jazmine Davis's talents extend well beyond the basketball court.
Here at the UW, there are hundreds of student athletes, but there's one that shines on and off the court, and you could say she definitely is in tune with the way she runs her life.
She's one of the best in the country, and not just on the ukulele. The Huskies' junior point guard Jazmine Davis was recently named to the John R. Wooden preseason list.
It means everything to me.
A prestigious honor passed out to the nation's top 30 student athletes.
And it's an honor for her, but it doesn't change her. She didn't even know about it. I mean, she was like, oh, what is that? You know, she knew who John Wooden was, but she didn't know what the award was. All she cares about is winning and losing and being a good teammate.
It makes me feel like I'm really accomplished. And when I was in junior high, I looked up to high schoolers, and I became a high schooler, then kids were looking up to me, and then when I was in high school, I was looking up to college players, and then hoping that one day I could be a college player, and it means that hard work gets paid off.
We know Jazmine can play. We also know she can coach, and we're not just talking hoops.
Just cover that whole bar right there.
This whole bar?
Yep, cover it.
Oh.
You gotta hold it, hold it. There you go.
This one sounds a lot nicer.
Cause when I'm staring at the stars, looking at the moon, wishing that I could be there with you. It's okay. I'm a jelly bean, you know? I'm really hard on the outside, but I really am soft on the inside. I really am a jelly bean. It's still not the same when you're far away. I chose University of Washington because they have the #1 nursing program. I take student athlete very seriously. That's how I was raised, was student first. Being an athlete is a privilege.
Davis is coming off a solid season where she earned all Pac-12 honors for the second straight year while leading the Huskies to a 21-win season.
And then you kill them with the Terrio. Oh.
I would have to say Jazz is absolutely hilarious. She keeps our spirits up. When something gets down, she's always the first to grab us and say, it's okay. On the foul line, she's making jokes, making fart noises. Like, she just keeps the game fun, which is a rare quality to find in a teammate.
Really? Fart noises?
Oh, every time. Every time the opponent is shooting, fart noises.
Jazz means a lot to his team. She's the engine that makes our team go. She definitely sets the pace in practice and in the games.
This season, expectations are soaring for the Huskies as a berth to the NCAA tourney is music to their ears.
How sweet would it be to get a trip to the NCAA tournament, and how disappointed would you be if you didn't?
You know, I would be devastated if we didn't, because, you know, I really feel like this is our year. We have an amazing group of girls, athletes, just women in general as a team, and this is our year to make it.
If you made it all the way to the end of the tourney, would you play the ukulele at the end? Would you do that for us? Pac-12?
Yes, I would. I would totally do it.
We're gonna hold you to that.
Yeah, hold me to it. I'm a person behind my word, and yes, I will sing. I will play my ukulele. I love you. Good night.
For more information about the women's basketball team, including their season schedule, just head to our website at uwtv.org/uw360. And when we return, pioneering DNA research that could one day change our world as UW360 continues. Welcome back, everyone. Our next story spotlights some incredible work being done by a UW professor and his students that could transform our lives. They're learning how to combine strands of DNA to try to create entirely new sequences of DNA. Their discoveries could lead to life-saving procedures.
They're just plastic Lego blocks, the kind children play with. But UW Assistant Professor Georg Selig says a simple toy like this can be a useful tool when trying to explain the complex world of synthetic DNA.
But what's cool about DNA is that you can actually, take many of these strands and assemble them into different types of structures, sort of like you would be able to do with these type of Legos, except that everything that you do with DNA really happens at the nanoscale. So you get like these tiny, tiny structures.
Combining tiny strands of DNA to create something unique. That's what Professor Selig and a team of students are doing in the Synthetic DNA Lab, now located in the Molecular Engineering Building.
Yeah, so it actually comes in these like tiny little test tubes. So you can basically go and you can order DNA from companies, like little chunks of DNA. You get these little test tubes that have the molecule that you want in there, and then you can sort of mix these molecules up, and depending on what DNA sequence they have, they can form all sorts of interesting structures.
The challenge is finding which strands of DNA will properly combine with other strands of DNA.
If you just take random DNA and throw it together, nothing interesting is going to happen. So you have to really think about how to choose the sequences and why you choose them in a certain way to get interesting behaviors.
You can't really see any of the sequences, not even with a traditional microscope. This is nanotechnology. The size of individual atoms or molecules is typically a few nanometers long or wide, equal to 1/1000th of a meter.
But the nanocontroller is clearly too small to see from eyes, so we attach the DNA with some fluorescence, and then basically this machine is helping us, it shines a laser to the fluorescence, and then this machine basically records the fluorescent signal so we can visualize in the computer. It's similar to a microscope.
The DNA strands are made up of tiny components, but they have the potential to deliver big discoveries that could one day be used in devices that could help detect cancer or other serious illnesses.
I do think that what we're doing in the longer term can give rise to new types of therapeutics and diagnostic devices, right? So they'll in some ways be helpful to hopefully to to cure or diagnose disease, and I think that's obviously an important problem. You could think of a molecule, a smart molecule that you could deliver to cells, and it can distinguish between healthy cells and tumor cells, and specifically maybe kill the tumor cells but not the healthy ones.
Georg Selig says his group is about 3 years away from doing any clinical trials. The grand vision is to one day build the foundation for a technology that could be used in various ways.
We want to be able to build multi-purpose kind of devices that you can apply to various applications of interest. I mean, electronic controllers are not just good to control, I don't know, some part of your car. I mean, the whole point is that you can use that controller in many different contexts, and it will be useful over and over again, right? And that's the kind of thing that we're shooting for, like to have something, a molecular technology, that can control or interact with different types of biological systems, and therefore be sort of broadly useful.
If you're curious to learn more about synthetic DNA, professors and students in electric engineering and computer science have developed a computer game you can play online that teaches the basic principles of DNA strand displacement. Just head to the link on our website and you'll find the information there. Straight ahead, a behind-the-scenes tour of this amazing stadium to see what makes it one of the greenest venues in the country as UW360 continues. Welcome back to UW360 from way up here at the Club Husky level in Husky Stadium. This place has long been known as one of the most beautiful sports venues in the country. Now it's also considered one of the greenest. Austin Siedentopf shows us why it's helping cement the UW's image as one of the most eco-friendly campuses in the country.
For nearly a century, it has served as witness to countless numbers of thrilling moments. But today, Husky Stadium is being recognized for another noteworthy distinction. It is being chosen as one of the greenest collegiate stadiums in the country.
I think it's a huge honor.
Karen Babler, UW Athletic Director for Sports Operations, says the honor comes from the National Resource Defense Council, a nonprofit environmental organization dedicated to protecting the world's natural resources. In its published 2013 Collegiate Game Changers report, which documents greening or sustainability initiatives at colleges in the U.S., the University of Washington was featured as one of the 10 athletic departments in the country making an impact. The newly renovated Husky Stadium has a lot to do with that recognition.
I think we're leading the way in what we're doing as far as composting and recycling only in our stadium.
That's because there are not any traditional garbage bins in the stadium for fans.
The containers they're going to find in the stadium are recycle and compost only, and that our goal for diversion is 70%. That was our goal for this season. When you have 70,000 people in one place at one time, you're producing a lot of waste. And if you can recycle and compost that waste instead of sending it to landfill, you're saving the environment, you're helping preserve the beauty of the Northwest environment we have here.
The key to successful recycling? Get fans to buy into the idea. That's why the UW has 15 to 20 volunteers that come to every football game to help educate fans about recycling and composting. The efforts to be sustainable don't end there.
Prior to the renovation, there were trucks inside the stadium. There was actually a parking lot in part of the stadium. There were gas vehicles, carts and things, and now there are no vehicles in the stadium that are run by gas. All of the vehicles are electric or they're hand trucks.
From the very beginning, the goal of the newly renovated Husky Stadium was to make this giant structure of concrete and steel as green as possible. It all began with demolition. 95% of the old structure was recycled.
Well, if you look at the W here behind that, there's some slats, and those slats, if you look closely, they're actually aluminum bleachers, and those bleachers were in the stadium before the renovation.
When it came to choosing building materials, regional wood, stone, and brick were used as much as possible. Inside and out, LED lighting is the norm. For Karen Babler, it's only natural that the newly renovated Husky Stadium and the UW Athletic Department are being recognized as game changers.
I think overall there were several things that we were doing here at Washington that other institutions could follow our lead.
The University of Washington was recently ranked among the top environmentally friendly schools in the United States by the Sierra Club and the Princeton Review. And that does it for this edition of UW360. You can find more information about any of today's stories on our website, uwtv.org/UW360. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time with all news stories from the University of Washington.